Greetings, YouTube. As I've said recently, I'm not impressed with the progressive credentials of NPR. I think of them as faux progressives. They give a lot of lip service to it, but they actually don't seem to deliver. Um, and they, in fact, push the narrative of people in the social conservative net and politically conservative people far too often, and kind of move the Overton window further and further to the right simply because they can. Since they don't seem to really be concerned or care about true regressive issues. Today we're talking about trans folk and trans rights. Now let me make this abundantly clear. Trans rights are human rights, completely and utterly equivalent. If you oppose rights for trans people, you oppose human rights. You are in the wrong. Okay? Absolute in the wrong. Sorry, Kitty, I need to get to this keyboard. And they very rarely, if ever, even hint that a person on their show is furthering a political agenda, which is in fact endorsing discrimination and intolerance and bigotry. They just give them a platform to talk, and they shouldn't do that. So how are they doing this? Well, they're, for example, unchecked junk science. They will talk to people who are the common man, who make assertions out of the blue, and they treat these assertions as though that they're facts, as though they're real things. They let people talk about their religious beliefs as though their religious beliefs somehow imply they have a scientific understanding of gender identity issues, and they don't. And they also, of course, talk about the safety of kids in school. Now, the safety of kids in school has been a policy that was used in the past to justify banning Jewish people, banning black people, banning gay people. And now it's being used as a justification to ban trans folk. Now, in the past, we've learned that Jewish people in our schools do not pose a danger. Black and minority students in our schools don't pose a danger. And gay people in our schools don't pose a danger. And trans people in our schools don't pose a danger. It's an old tactic, but social conservatives keep beating that drum because apparently they're not very smart. The NPR also gives these hate groups a platform for their hate. They recently had a guy on there from the Alliance Defending Freedom, a Christian legal fund firm, an entire firm backing up this dude, who this is his job. In an interview, on the other side of the interview was a 16-year-old girl, supposed to be defending herself against an organization that has all kinds of resources. And again, one of these groups is endorsing discrimination, and the other is simply asking for her human rights. Those are not morally equivalent issues. One person is morally correct, the other one is being immoral. They are attempting to impose discrimination and intolerance on people. It's that clear and simple, and NPR fails again and again to make that distinction. They give a platform to hate groups all the bloody time. They had Richard Spencer on an interview not long ago, and he's an out-and-out Nazi. Why are you giving a Nazi a platform for discussion? We know what his platform is. He's a Nazi. And then, of course, we talk about blatant erasure, just ignoring the fact that gay people and trans people have a right to exist. They do exist. They have always existed, and they deserve human rights. Particularly in the religious freedom argument. Now, this one baffles me. Someone's gender identity, gender presentation, and sexual orientation has nothing to do with your religion. It has no impact on your religion. Any of you folks remember the video I did ages ago about the concept of sweater weather? That if I put a sweater on, that has no effect on your life. If I try to force a sweater on you, then you can get upset. But if I put one on or I take it off, it's nothing to do with you. And someone else's gender expression has nothing to do with you either. The only gender expression you should concern yourself with is your own. Is that a familiar ring to it? I use that that particular worldview a lot because it's healthy. Your gender identity is your problem. No one else's gender identity. Actually, it isn't a problem, it's just your gender identity. And you should be expressing it any way you bloody well want. Whether that's presenting yourself in a masculine manner, in a feminine manner, or in a completely androgynous manner. Whether you're cisgender, transgender, pangender, polygender, agender, it doesn't matter. You are still deserving of human rights and deserving of access to a bathroom. Trans people aren't a risk in bathrooms. They are not a danger to anyone. And if, again, you think that granting trans people the right to use the bathroom of their preference somehow endangers people because you think that heterosexual cisgender men are going to dress up as in feminine clothing and go assaulting women and girls in bathrooms, they can do that now. They've always had the ability to do that. They always will have the ability to do that. There's nothing stopping them. And these laws won't stop them either. But these laws will discriminate against trans people. Just like that old argument that was used against Jewish people, black people, and gay people. And all of those situations were shown to be complete and utter bullshit. Just like this is. And NPR lets us down again and again and again. They are faux progressives at best. And they are pushing a political and socially conservative worldview which is toxic to our nation and the world at large. And I am so tired of them coming off as though they somehow have some kind of position of authority on this topic. Because frankly, they don't seem to know squat about it. Maybe if they actually did their jobs as journalists, we wouldn't be having this problem. See, even Mandarin's upset.